We're going to be speaking to 3 Lincolnshire businesses who are embracing digital technology to grow. This morning, we'll have joining us Darren Joint, Managing Director at Viking Signs, Camilla McLean, Director at Matthew Cox, and Matt Godfroy, Founder and Chief Executive at SunFresh Produce, who own the Picked brand. Throughout this session, please submit your questions into the chat, starting them with the letter Q, and if it's for a specific panellist, please also include their name. We're going to kick off with a 1-minute introduction from each panellist, with a background from their background to their company and how they've embraced digital. We'll then be diving into some questions from myself before we pick questions from the audience. So please submit them throughout this session. So I'd like to invite all 3 of our panellists onto the stage, please. As I said, we've got Darren Joint from Viking Signs, Camilla McLean from Matthew Cox, and Matt Godfroy from SunFresh Produce. Welcome, guys.
Good morning.
Hi.
So, Darren, I'd like to start with you, please. Could you just spend a minute telling the audience about Viking Signs?
Okay, no problem. Morning, everybody. Yeah, my name is Darren Joint. I'm Managing Director of Viking Signs. We manufacture safety signs and products, components for other manufacturers, like the display panels, machine panels you can see behind me. So we're 100% on-demand manufacturer. We don't keep any end item stock. It's all manufactured on demand.
Fantastic. Short and sweet. Lovely, Darren. Thank you very much. We'll be back with you in just a moment. Next up, I'd like to invite Camilla to tell us all about Matthew Cox.
Hi, yes, I'm Camilla McLean. I'm a director at Matthew Cox. We make beautifully understated made-to-measure furniture, all completely customizable, so you can choose the size, finish, and all the details of the piece that you order from us.
Marvellous, thank you very much. Matt, if I could move on to you next, please tell us all about SunFresh Produce and the Picked brand that you've introduced.
No problem, thank you, Zoe. So my name is Matt Godfroy. So I run a business called SunFresh Produce, and we have a brand called Picked, which is an online brand. And so we actually import organic fresh produce from all around the world, and we have local growers as well, supplying the UK retailers. And as you're going to learn in a little while, we launched a brand called Picked.
Marvellous, thanks, Matt. So as I said, we're going to spend a few minutes digging into the digital transformation stories of each of our panellists, and then it's your turn to ask questions, so please do submit them into the chat. Darren, I'm going to start with you again. Could you please tell us about the digital on-demand factory that you've introduced at Viking Signs?
Yeah, no problem. So Viking Signs was originally, what you'd think of as a local sign-making company. We started selling online probably before e-commerce was even called that, in about 2006. And we quite quickly figured out that we could manufacture products we were originally buying ourselves, and slowly introduced digital equipment from the start. So we've never, traditionally safety signs are made screen printed and stocked. There's a large number of choices, so there's a lot of end item products. Because digital technology really was digital print technology was at the level that we could go with that in the first instance, that's what we did. So we've been producing those on demand digitally from the start. And introducing more and more products, we were able, because we didn't have to stock end item products, to have a vast range and a continually expanding range of products. So what we've found over time is that we've had to engineer the digital creation of product data, and that's the part of the digital factory where we've kind of evolved over the last few years, is our ability to create product data on demand. So we already had the capability of manufacturing it. Now we are producing new products from data. So we have templates for the products that produce both the production data, but also the data that's required for different marketing channels, all on demand from a database. So it allows us, with relatively few pieces of new data, so a new design template or a new symbol type and a new sign text potentially, to produce thousands of products in multiple size and material variants on demand. So that's really the kind of innovation that's driving the business forwards.
So am I right in thinking as well that this has led you to needing to stock an awful lot less product as well?
So, as I said before, we don't stock any end item products. It's all made on demand, which means that we're never out of stock because we don't have any in the first place. We've got virtual stock of capacity basically to make products, and it means we're very responsive to customer demand. So, we are taking orders up till midday at the moment, and every order is made and shipped that day for delivery tomorrow, regardless of what the product is and whether or not it's something we've made before or not.
So I imagine this has had huge implications on the business's productivity. You're not having to go and pick and pack individual products from a warehouse because they're made as the clients need them.
Absolutely. I mean, it's also, we think it's the most sustainable way of delivering this as well, because there's zero waste. We don't make anything that then is stocked and then has to be, discounted to be sold. I don't have that issue at all. We only make what's needed, and there's no wasted product. It also means that the production is as efficient as it possibly can be, because demand is accumulated to fit the size of materials. We have the least possible waste. We're only making what's needed and not kind of overproducing that we then have to then store and count and all those things.
And what are the benefits that your customers have seen from switching to this model?
It's responsiveness, and I think we're going to talk perhaps about Amazon. And Amazon, from my perspective, as a consumer, has driven faster demand for products, so faster delivery, faster expectations, and more choice. And we've been able to keep up with that because we don't have to limit the choice we offer, and we don't have to worry about trying to keep stock of all of those products. We can make them very quickly, and we can be incredibly responsive to customers' demands.
Brilliant. You read my mind. Amazon was my next question. I'd love to know more about the success that you've had with it and what led you to use that as a sales channel.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a bit of a love-hate relationship, I think, for manufacturers with Amazon as a channel, because they're so prevalent and expanding all the time. But I know as a consumer, the convenience is amazing. The fact that you can order something on a Saturday evening and it's still delivered on a Sunday, they're breaking all of the models, and they're kind of pushing customers' demand, customers' expectations in the e-commerce world. We were already doing e-commerce, and e-commerce was getting, I guess, demands were being pushed more and more, and we were able to respond to that. But Amazon kind of keeps stepping up to the next level, and I think everyone that's doing e-commerce has to follow that. That's why they do it. So you're kind of either in it or you're missing the boat. And so we decided, look, we're going to do it. We're going to have to do it properly and take it very seriously, because they eat more and more of the e-commerce world. And if we're not in that, we're going to lose market share. And actually, it suits us because they're always going to be faster than us, even if we're as fast as we possibly can be. But I don't mind if I'm in Amazon and customers want something faster than I can deliver it. I can point them towards Amazon, and they still buy our product. We still get the sale, but Amazon does the very kind of super fast logistic fulfillment. And I think as we get to same day delivery, which will come, it allows me to offer that through Amazon, because they'll already be there. So that's kind of the reasons why I think we chose. We were also actually asked to become an Amazon vendor. They approached us because when they were launching Amazon business products and trying to get more business to business customers, they had gaps in their product portfolio, which we've got a huge range. We had at that point about 30,000 end item products, and really they were all about range. They still are trying to kind of A to Z. They want to be selling everything, so they wanted our range of products, and they were really excited about the fact that we had so many products to offer. So that's how it came about that we started selling through Amazon.
Marvelous. And did you encounter any particular challenges with the platform in terms of working their way, or having to do things that maybe didn't quite sit in line with your business?
There are some learning points, I'd say. Amazon's really hot on metrics. I mean, we were already measuring our delivery performance with right first time measures of our e-commerce performance. Amazon measures everything they possibly can, and that's the law as far as they're concerned. You have to meet the metrics, which we were already set up to do, but I think you have to learn about what their metrics mean and how to manage those, because if you're not managing that, then you're not going to get repeat sales. That's how they decide who to place more business with. So you've absolutely got to be tracking that and making sure you can deliver what they measure.
Fabulous, thank you. And can you tell me a bit, Darren, about the growth that you've seen in sales as a result of making these changes, and how that's impacted your business?
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty huge. We saw an abnormally large demand in the first. So we started in 2017, and we saw some very large initial orders, and then it kind of stabilized to normal type of demand. But over the last 6 months, it's grown again. And I think I looked at some of the numbers recently for another presentation about the shift towards e-commerce. And I think it was tracking about 20% of retail. In March of this year, it jumped to something like 32%, because everyone was buying stuff online. And obviously Amazon benefits from that. And I think the last time I looked, I think a year ago, there was a survey that said something like a third of e-commerce is with Amazon, and that will have grown. So, as the shift towards e-commerce and the shift towards more people buying on Amazon comes, they are just going to get more and more market share. So I think they've, even at the lowest conservative estimate, they've probably got 10% of all retail sales now. So we benefit from that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Darren. It was really helpful. I'm sure the audience are going to have plenty of extra questions when we get onto our panel Q&A as well. I'd like to invite Camilla next to tell us more about the digital journey that they have been on throughout 2020. So Camilla, Matthew Cox introduced augmented reality to allow its customers to view products directly in their home or their office. As a maker of furniture, what were the drivers behind the business's investment in augmented reality?
Sure. It's quite interesting hearing Darren's story, because although we're very different businesses, there are similarities there. So, we don't hold stock either. We don't even have sample pieces. We sell directly sort of through our website. So it's really important to put in front of people the options that they can potentially buy, because people just buy what they see. And obviously our clients, who are interior designers predominantly, but also sort of quite discerning private clients, are very visual people, and they want to see the options. Now, obviously for us to make and photograph our range, which is around about sort of 20 pieces from, we predominantly sell tables, but we also sell chairs, mirrors, lighting, what have you, to make those, photograph them, put them on the website. I mean, it would cost hundreds of thousands of pounds. So with this augmented reality, we're able to bring every piece to life in every finish, and we can actually encourage our customers to engage with our pieces by placing them in their own room. So they can, through their mobile phone, via Instagram, or it will be through our website as well, you'll be able to just place that table. You can scale it up and down so that you can get an idea of how it might look at different sizes. And people can look at the finishes and see how that sits with their other furniture, or their paint color, for example. So it's great. It means that when the client comes to us, or the interior designer comes to us, they have a much more informed picture. So all in all, it felt that there was a really kind of clear business case, because it not only helped as a sales and marketing tool, it helped as a production tool, because it's very useful for the makers to be able to see the finished pieces. And I think, obviously it creates buzz as well.
So how did you go about transforming that idea into a reality?
So we were really lucky to be introduced to an augmented reality company when we were on the NatWest Accelerator scheme. So we knew that they had been put through their paces by our business coach as well. They were so keen, and they felt that they would do a really good job for us. So they sent us some models for us to play with, and then we worked on an initial model of one of our pieces. I think because we wanted to make sure that we could get the kind of quality that we are known for in the real world, I guess. And it was really important to be able to translate that craftsmanship through into what we actually see on as augmented reality. Obviously, being able to work with a company, you need to understand how their process works, and doing that one test was really important, and then we were able to sort of roll it out from there. Obviously, the funding aspect was an important part as well, and you don't just pluck that kind of money out of nowhere. And so I guess it was although we've been thinking about it for some time, it was when lockdown happened, we were able to access one of the local authority grants, and also, really importantly, the University of Lincoln productivity programme provided us with a 50% intervention rate grant. So it just made it all possible.
So with something like augmented reality being obviously a very tech-heavy solution, were there any particular challenges that you encountered along that journey?
Yes, I mean, it's obviously when you're adopting a new technology, it is therefore new and you don't know anything about it because it is literally kind of cutting edge. So I think we were clear about what we wanted to see as an end result. And I think we were quite clear at the outset with the company we were working with what our expectations were. And I think that's really important. I think you have to make sure that your expectations are matching. And the sooner that you can get to that point of deciding yes or no, I think that's really important. I think the challenge that we have seen in particular is that it has been more time consuming than we expected. I think that if you're going to do something like this, it's important to do it properly because you only get one chance to kind of put it out there, and that's the point where everybody's kind of engaging with it. And so it has all been I think a longer process than perhaps we'd hoped for. Having said that, we're really delighted with the results, and it's definitely, you see augmented reality out there, but this is definitely another level. It's really important that those finishes are translated into something that looks really beautiful and not cartoony or fake. And that's definitely kind of where we've managed to get to, but definitely finding the time to provide the feedback has been the main challenge, I think, for us.
So just to finish off then, Camilla, can you tell us about some of those results, some of those successes that you've had, any feedback? Has it made a difference in terms of sales? Has it helped you to sell more?
Well, at the moment, we're still kind of pre-launch on Instagram, which is kind of where we feel that most of our clients will engage with it and spend time with it, and our interior designer clients will encourage their customers to engage there as well. I mean, I think that the whole process has been incredibly helpful for us because it's forced us to make some really important decisions in terms of culling our range. That's probably the first benefit that we've seen. It's made us really pinpoint where it's worth investing our money. It's also been great because we've been able to use it as a tool to talk to journalists. So that's been amazing, seeing these interior designers, interior design journalists having their minds completely blown by this, and it shows us to be a different kind of company. I think for our brand, although our lineage is very much in the antiques space, and now obviously made-to-measure furniture, I think it shows us as a company with a real ambition and very much future focused.
Thank you very much, Camilla. I'm going to move on to Matt from SunFresh Produce next. Matt, you introduced Picked as an environmentally conscious e-commerce vegetable box product to the SunFresh brand. You clearly have a passion for doing things in a responsible way, and as a business that traditionally supplied supermarkets and wholesalers, what drove you to set up Picked?
Well, so I've been dealing with supermarkets now for the last 25 years, and you find that it's become a very aggressive environment for supplying the retailers. And as we all know, margins keep getting narrowed and narrowed. And got to a point back in 2018 where we went to a festival called the Go Organic Festival at Battersea Park, London. We then took a 25-year-old rice horse trailer, had it converted parked it up next to then would be a competitor, and we polled 1,200 people in a response. Basically 10,000 people attended it, 1,200 responses back, asking them what do they actually want from organics. And that was to understand, you know, what did they like, what did they dislike, and what were the problems that they were encountering. And then back from all of that information, we kind of word map that out to then understand what were the key points that everyone said. Always wanted to have an online business. So from that, we then created the brand Picked, so Picked Fresh. And from that, we've then developed a range of different kind of boxes within it, ready-made boxes or pre-selected boxes, and it's all been tailored from the response that we got back from everyone at the Go Organic Festival. So no, go on.
Go ahead.
No, go on, please.
I was going to say, so what was the real driver? What was the point at which you went, selling to the supermarkets is cutthroat, we want to go consumer? What was the point that kind of drove you to even do that piece of research in the first place?
So we still do supply the supermarkets. If there are any supermarkets listening, you know, we do love you as a customer still. We, as supplying the supermarkets, there's a lot of red tape supplying them. So with Picked, we are able to move incredibly quickly. So if something's not right, we can move it. And as exchange rates fluctuate, as crops fluctuate, you can move, and it's dynamic in everything we do. So if something needs to be changed, we can literally, with our online business, change it within 2 minutes. And that customer sees the benefit of it. Doing that with a retailer, sometimes you're going through a 12 to a 25-week process to change something. And it's just not, it's not the world that we now live in. You know, like Darren was saying, you know, with Amazon, we as consumers expect, if we click something, we expect it the next day. So that's how we've Picked. Picked is built where if you order before 8 a.m. in the morning, you'll get next day delivery anywhere mainland UK, and that's carbon neutral delivery. So we're the only box scheme in the UK that actually has achieved that.
So implementing an entire new portion of your business to target an entire new audience can't have been any kind of small feat. Can you talk to us about any outside help that you brought in and to help you with any particular challenges?
So we spoke to some different marketing companies, and I will be completely honest, you know, we've gone through some different marketing companies that it just hasn't worked with them. The only thing I can really say to the people that are watching this is you've got to really understand what do you want to achieve, and you've got to map that journey out. But then when you're then talking to people to then go and either build your online platform or the marketing side of the business, really interrogate their business of how they're going to benefit your business, because you're really going to give them your baby. And you don't want to give your baby to anyone. So you've really got to find the right chemistry. And we didn't find the right chemistry with people at the beginning. And, you know, we've spent way more than what we should have done to be where we are now. But it's been an amazing journey, and I wouldn't change it, because we've then just learned the right way now to do it. And that's where I can now help other kind of business leaders to avoid those pitfalls.
Yes, I'm sure they'll appreciate it too. I think that you are in a really interesting position. As you said, on the one hand, you've got the supermarkets who, presumably in the current climate, you're exposed to potential pricing pressures. And on the other hand, you've got Picked, which is in this exciting emerging direct-to-consumer space. What's your outlook for the next 1 to 2 years, Matt?
So when we looked at creating Picked back in 2018, we knew that the online organic home delivery business, so we also deliver to businesses as well, Picked, was going to grow by £250 million by 2023. So there are, I mean, we all know the other kind of like the box schemes out there, and there are some small regional ones, but we knew that they weren't disrupting the business. We knew that they weren't plastic free. We knew they weren't carbon neutral. We knew that we could deliver something which was better, quicker, faster, and that's what we've done. So, you know, we are the only plastic certified box scheme in the UK. We are B Corp certified as a business, and with our quick delivery scheme, you know, it really plays to how, like Darren was saying about Amazon, people can click it, order a box at 7:30 in the morning, and know that anywhere mainland UK they're going to get it. So the only way I can see it is growth. And every month we're seeing that continuous growth. So through the first lockdown, the stat that I will give you is that our growth increase was 17,500%, which was astronomical pain as a business. But the benefit of it is that we're used to doing the supermarkets and the volume driven business. So we have a dedicated production facility here, and we managed it. Where other schemes were closing down their delivery slots, we never did. We made sure that every single order we fulfilled it. Even though the team here were doing 16, 18-hour days, they did it because that's the values of our business. It's about caring for people and the planet.
Fantastic. Thanks, Matt. So we've got a few questions from the audience, as well as somebody quite rightly pointing out that Matthew Cox is a great example of one of the paradoxes that Sean talked about in his talk, taking the traditional and really melding it with the new and using that to really enhance the business. And so our first question is from Richard Lukey. This is to you, Darren.
Mm-hmm.
1 second. As an Amazon vendor, is there a trade-off between rapid fulfillment and impact on margin?
Obviously Amazon wants to make money out of selling our products, so there is a margin that they want to have. But if I compare that to direct e-commerce, there's also costs in doing that as well. You can't these days rely on organic traffic. The majority of search engine search results now are paid. So much of the page, particularly for commodity products like ours, if you search for safety signs, there'll be no organic results on the first page, maybe one. So you're paying for that anyway. So as a kind of comparison between the two, it's roughly a wash, I'd say, between the margin we have to give Amazon and the what I would pay to sell a product via e-commerce. We were lucky in that the negotiation with Amazon wasn't as painful perhaps as it might be with a supermarket. In Matt's experience, I'm sure there's a lot of pressure there. We've not had such bad pressure so far from Amazon, although that gets worse. So I think hopefully that answers that question.
Thanks, Darren. So our next question is from Tanvir to Matt. What challenges have you faced in converting to a direct to consumer offering?
The greatest thing about going direct and speaking direct to the public, to the people, is that the feedback instantly, you can change what's ever happening within your business. So if something wasn't right, so for instance, at the beginning, we were finding that some of the fruit was arriving at customers and it was then being bruised because it's obviously going through the DPD network and things. So then we've then implemented some different paper packing machines that we've then got here. So having that direct relationship to the customer means that you can instantly change what you're doing to benefit them, and it's not this long procedure that you have with a retailer. So it works.
We've got time for 2 more questions. Our next one is from Simon. For all of our panelists, are any of you taking part in Black Friday?
No.
Matt?
No, don't need to.
No Black Friday sale too.
We already work here to very, very low margins. The point about Pict is making it affordable to the majority, not to a minority. So we already work at the lowest we possibly can.
Over the years, we've tried a number of different ways to promote, sales of safety signs, and I've yet to find a way to get anyone excited about buying safety signs. So that's why we don't do Black Friday.
Fair enough. Sorry, go ahead, Camilla.
Same for us. We don't have big fat margins. We put the value into the product, not into our own product pockets rather.
This final question is from Alison for you, Camilla, and they also sell to interior design companies with their handmade tissue boxes and bins, but they have a huge range. Would you recommend culling it, as you called it?
I would. I mean, there's so many reasons why I think you should sort of be disciplined about that product range. If you think about all of the areas that a sort of a fat product range can impact. I mean, whether it's kind of, I don't know whether they hold stock. So I didn't catch the name. there. Is it Alan, did you say?
Alison.
Alison, sorry. So Alison, I don't know whether you you keep stock, but obviously that is sort of inefficient to have a large range. I think it enables you also to be more targeted with your marketing. But I think, you know, and first of all, the exercise of going through and actually trying to work out yourselves whether, you know, have you sold any of that particular product this year? I think it's a good discipline to do.
Marvellous. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Darren, Camilla and Matt, for sharing your experience with this. And thank you for the questions from the audience. I hope that's inspired the businesses in the audience to embark on their own digital innovation journeys.